Hi, I'm Susan Cleveland, and I'm here to share a couple of the big ideas in my booklet, The Secrets of Impeccable Piecing. This booklet is packaged with the Quilter's Custom Seam Tool, and together they can help you get fantastic results with your 1/4 inch piecing. When we power up our sewing machines to start 1/4 inch piecing, there is a problem. And let me show you what that is. When I put this ruler up to here, and you see I've got the 1/4 inch line at the needle, and I'm looking a 1/4 inch to the right of the needle. Do you see if I piece in this configuration, my fabrics are not totally covering my right feed dog. And that makes it difficult for this machine to push fabrics through nice and straight. It takes a lot of effort on my part to make sure they go through the machine nice and straight. Now, this is a pretty high-end machine where the feed dogs are set pretty wide, but other machines that are entry-level or mid-range, they still have this problem. Usually a 1/4 inch to the right of the needle is about halfway onto that right feed dog, but not totally covering the right feed dog. So there is a solution to that. Let me show you that. If I move my needle over to the right and then piece with my 1/4 inch, my fabric will totally cover the right feed dog. Now, we don't know where to put our fabrics into the machine in this configuration, so that is where the Quilter's Custom Seam Tool comes into play. Now you'll see there are 3 holes here, A, B, and C. Why are there 3 holes? They offer slightly different seam allowances. The seam allowance that we need for accuracy depends on the thickness of our fabric and thread. The reason that is the case is because when we press our seams to one side, there is a little bit of fabric taken up in the turn of the cloth. And that's where we get that term scant seam allowance. We need a scant seam allowance. Take into account the thickness of the fabric and the thread because of the turn of the cloth. So for most people, hole A is fantastic when you're piecing with tightly woven batiks, and B for commercial prints, and C for just slightly thicker fabrics. So let's say today I'm piecing with commercial prints. I will set up in hole B. So I've got my needle over to the right. I will sink it down into hole B. Those holes are very tiny, so that tool will not wobble, but it will pivot. So I want to turn it, make sure that it's nice and straight. I'll look at whatever lines or cutouts are on my needle to plate to make sure that's straight. I carefully hold that in place, and then I bring a stack of 4 or 5 Post-it notes, and the sticky part goes on the machine right beside the tool. You see I'm doing this very gently so that I don't get anything out of alignment. Now I like to add a piece of tape to really make sure that it stays in place. Now, when I take my pieces and I put them right sides together, and by the way, that needs to be done quite carefully, then I will put the edge of the fabrics right beside my Post-it notes. They act like a little guide, and then you see I'm using all of those feed dogs so the machine can push these pieces through nice and straight with much less effort on my part. Now, of course, I would put a sewing machine foot on here, and on this machine I would engage the built-in dual feed foot, but this makes my piecing so much more enjoyable, and then pieces fit beautifully. You can get the secrets of impeccable piecing with the Quilter's Custom Seam Tool from my website, piecesbewithyou.com.